The space station orbited silently in the neutral zone, a glittering hub of trade and diplomacy. Ships from dozens of species docked and departed, carrying cargo, diplomats, and travelers. Life aboard the station was usually orderly, governed by regulations and the careful balance of power between humans and aliens. But today, the hum of normalcy was about to shatter. Alex stood in the engineering bay, his hands coated in grease, examining a console that controlled the station's power grid. He had been an engineer for years, fixing systems that no one else dared touch. Routine maintenance was supposed to be dull, predictable, and safe. Today, it felt like any other day, until a shadow fell across the bay. 3 figures entered at once, moving with a confidence that made every head turn. They were unlike any species Alex had seen before, each radiating authority and elegance. Their armor was sleek, glimmering in a strange metallic sheen, and their eyes seemed to hold storms within them. Humans rarely encountered royalty directly, and certainly not 3 from different empires at once. "You will obey us," the tallest of the 3 said. Her voice carried a sharp authority, echoing in the vast bay. It was not a question, it was a command. Alex froze, unsure whether to respond or step aside. Around him, the human crew whispered, their voices trembling. Visitors on the station were common, but no one spoke to the crew in this way, especially not royalty from 3 separate alien empires. The second princess, her hair like liquid silver and eyes like twin moons, stepped forward with a sly smile. "Do not waste our time, human. Show us your capabilities." Her voice had a playful edge, as if she found the situation amusing. The third princess remained silent, observing everything with a quiet intensity. She did not speak, but her eyes, dark and piercing, seemed to follow every movement. Alex felt as if she could see through him, reading his thoughts, analyzing his fears. Alex swallowed hard. He was trained to deal with emergencies, but diplomacy with alien royalty was not part of his training. He knew resistance was risky, but blind obedience might also be dangerous. The situation demanded thought, fast. Welcome to the station," Alex said carefully, stepping forward. "I'm Alex, an engineer. How can I help?" The first princess's lips curved into a thin, cold smile. "You will prepare our personal shuttle immediately. It must be ready for departure within 2 hours. No excuses." Alex glanced at the shuttle bay monitor. Their ships were unlike anything human engineers normally worked on. Advanced energy shields, unfamiliar propulsion systems, and a hull that seemed almost alive. Repairing it would not be simple. It would be a test of every skill he possessed. Before he could respond, alarms rang across the station. The second princess raised her hand, and the sound abruptly stopped. "Calm your crew," she said lightly. "There is no need for panic, yet. That comes later." Alex felt a chill. Her words were playful, but there was a hidden threat behind them. He knew from experience that when alien royalty used humor, it often meant danger lurked just beneath the surface. The crew scattered to their stations. Engineers checked systems, security officers monitored corridors, and traders hurriedly secured their cargo. The station had seen conflicts before, but nothing like this. 3 powerful princesses with no respect for protocol had just arrived. Alex walked toward the shuttle bay, hoping to assess what needed repair. As he passed the main corridor, he noticed the curious princess quietly following him, her gaze never leaving his back. She did not speak, but there was something different about her presence. Unlike her sisters, who demanded obedience, she seemed intrigued. When Alex reached the shuttle, he found it pulsing with an eerie blue light. Panels opened automatically as he approached, as if the ship recognized his presence. The technology was advanced, far beyond anything human engineers had built. Energy flows traced through the hull like veins. and the propulsion system shimmered with power that defied conventional physics. He knelt beside the main engine, running his hands over the surface. The energy felt alive, humming with potential. Alex had seen powerful alien machines before, but this shuttle was different. It required not only technical skill, but understanding, intuition about the ship itself. The first princess entered the bay silently, her presence like a storm passing over. "Do not fail," she said. Her voice was sharp, a warning that carried the weight of her empire. "I won't," Alex replied, keeping his tone neutral. "I'll need to calibrate the core first, then check the shield matrix." She tilted her head, observing him. "Do it quickly. Time is short, and mistakes are unacceptable." Alex got to work. Sweat ran down his forehead as he calibrated the core, adjusted energy conduits, and synchronized the power distribution. He worked fast but methodically, aware that any error could spark disaster. As he adjusted the shield matrix, he felt a presence beside him. The third princess had moved closer. "Your species is interesting," she said softly, almost to herself. "You do not rush blindly. You think." Alex paused. "That's what engineers do. We solve problems one step at a time." Her dark eyes seemed to study him, weighing every word. "I may learn from you," she said, and then stepped back. Her words were calm, but they carried a weight he could not ignore. Meanwhile, the second princess had wandered toward the station's control room. She pressed a button, and suddenly the lights shifted, the temperature adjusted, and the crew's communication systems flickered. She laughed lightly. "So fragile," she said. "Your humans depend on systems, and one wrong touch, and chaos erupts." Alex frowned. She was testing the station's limits, seeing how humans reacted under pressure. He understood now that the arrival of these princesses was not just a visit, it was a test. His mind raced, thinking of ways to protect the crew while keeping the princesses from destroying the station. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared. One of the station's outer sensors detected a ship approaching at high speed. The second princess raised her hand, and the alarm stopped instantly. But Alex noticed the small smirk on her face. She wanted to see their reactions. "Prepare for impact," he muttered to himself. "Or at least prepare for panic." The crew scrambled. Shields went up, docking clamps secured, and energy diverted to defensive systems. Alex continued working on the shuttle, but he kept one eye on the approaching ship. The station was a powder keg, and any wrong move could trigger disaster. The first princess approached again. "Do not be distracted. Your human skills will be tested soon enough." Alex nodded, focusing on the shuttle. He synchronized the engine output with the power core, feeling the energy surge through the ship. Panels lit up in patterns that almost seemed like a heartbeat. The shuttle responded to his touch, as if alive, recognizing a human mind that could understand it. The curious princess stepped closer again. "You are brave," she said quietly. "And clever. Most humans would cower under our gaze, yet you continue to work, calm and focused." Alex wiped sweat from his brow. "Experience, and maybe a little stubbornness." She smiled faintly, an expression that seemed almost human. Alex felt a strange sense of connection, as if she were not just observing him, but learning from him. He wondered if he could trust her, or if her curiosity was just another test. Suddenly, the shuttle emitted a low hum, signaling that it was operational. Alex stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. "The shuttle is ready," he announced. The first princess crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. 2 hours? Not bad. Faster than I expected from your kind." She allowed herself a small nod of approval. The second princess clapped her hands, a sharp sound that echoed through the bay. "Interesting. The human works under pressure. Perhaps we underestimated you." The third princess simply observed, her expression unreadable. "Potential," she murmured. "Perhaps your species deserves more consideration than we have given." Alex exhaled, knowing this was only the beginning. The shuttle was ready, yes, but the station was still full of tension. The princess's arrival had created more than fear. They had stirred curiosity, rivalry, and a subtle chaos that could ignite at any moment. As he walked back toward the main corridor, Alex noticed the crew looking at him differently. Respect, fear, hope, they all mingled in their gazes. He understood then that humans were not powerless, even in the presence of 3 alien princesses with command over entire empires. Ingenuity, courage, and calm thinking were powerful tools, sometimes more powerful than armies. The curious princess followed him silently. "You will be important," she said softly, almost like a promise. "Do not fail your people or yourself." Alex looked at her, uncertainty and determination mingling in his heart. This was no ordinary mission. Chaos had arrived on his station, carried by 3 alien princesses, and he was right at the center of it. He did not yet know how he would survive the days ahead, but one thing was certain. Humans were not easily defeated, and in that silence, as the stars glittered outside the station's hull, the first ripple of rebellion, cunning, and hope began to form. The station had settled into a tense quiet after the initial chaos. Humans moved cautiously, aware that the 3 alien princesses were still aboard. Alex walked through the corridors, his mind racing. The shuttle was ready, but that was only a small piece of the puzzle. Each princess had her own agenda, and their personalities clashed in ways that could either destroy the station or offer a chance for humans to survive with dignity. The first princess, tall and strict, patrolled the docking bay with sharp eyes. Every human movement was monitored. Her presence was like a shadow, commanding obedience without words. She was precise, calculating, and intolerant of mistakes. The second princess, with silver hair and a playful smile, seemed to delight in the discomfort of humans. She wandered the station freely, pressing buttons, changing temperatures, and watching the crew scramble. Her amusement often caused small accidents, a spilled tray, flickering lights, sudden alarms, but she never caused real harm. Yet her unpredictability made everyone uneasy. The third princess, quiet and observant, moved like a whisper. She stayed close to Alex, her curiosity about humans apparent in subtle questions and gestures. Unlike her sisters, she did not demand control. She studied. She watched how humans worked, how they reacted under stress, and how they solved problems. Her gaze made Alex both cautious and oddly reassured. Alex returned to the engineering bay to check the station's systems. He noticed the alarms from earlier had triggered minor failures. Panels flickered, power flows fluctuated, and some security locks engaged unexpectedly. The second princess had been exploring again. Alex muttered under his breath, "Every action they take creates new problems. I'll need to stay ahead if we want to survive this visit." He started repairing the minor damage, rerouting power, and stabilizing the systems. As he worked, the curious princess approached him silently. "You are efficient," she said softly. "Most humans panic under pressure. You adapt." Alex glanced at her, careful not to reveal too much. "Experience and focus. That's all." She nodded slowly. "Your species is interesting. You think in ways others do not. You may survive longer than expected." Alex knew she was testing him, and he also knew that her observations could become allies if he handled them wisely. "I hope I can help both my crew and your people," he said. She gave no answer, only a slight nod before moving away. Alex focused back on the control panels. Every system he touched seemed to hum with life, as if the station itself was aware of the unusual guests aboard. Meanwhile, the other 2 princesses continued their silent power struggle. The first princess inspected the station's armory. Her movements were precise. She tested locks, calculated weapon ranges, and studied the crew's response times. Her goal was clear. She wanted control, efficiency, and proof that humans were capable of following strict rules. The second princess wandered into the mess hall, her silver hair catching the lights above. She pressed a button on a nearby panel, causing the temperature to rise slightly. Food trays toppled, and crew members scrambled to contain minor fires. She laughed lightly, a sound that seemed innocent but carried subtle menace. Alex knew he had to act. He could not allow small disruptions to grow into dangerous situations. Using his knowledge of the station's systems, he rerouted power and engaged emergency protocols, restoring stability. The humans quietly appreciated his skill, though they dared not show it openly in front of the princesses. The curious princess returned to Alex, standing silently beside him. "You handle pressure well," she said. "Your people are capable. I am learning much from you." Alex took a deep breath. "Then we both have a job to do. Keep your sisters from causing more chaos, and I'll keep the station alive." She tilted her head, studying him. "Perhaps there is more to humans than we believed. I wonder if your species could be trusted with power." Alex didn't answer. Words were dangerous with her. Any misstep could create tension, and yet he realized that the more she observed him, the more influence he might have. The station's communications panel beeped suddenly. A message from a nearby freighter appeared on the screen, a warning about a strange energy fluctuation near the station. The second princess's laughter from earlier had left a residue in the systems, a subtle interference that even the freighter's sensors detected. Alex frowned. "They're testing more than us. They're testing the whole sector." The curious princess placed a hand lightly on the console. "It is fascinating. Your species adapts quickly. That may be why your people endure." Alex moved swiftly, analyzing the readings. "If that fluctuation reaches critical levels, it could overload the station's shields. I need to stabilize it immediately." The first princess entered the bay without warning. "What is happening here?" she demanded. Her voice was sharp, carrying authority that cut through the hum of machines. Alex explained briefly, careful not to speak disrespectfully. "Minor interference from your sister's experiments. I am stabilizing it now." Her eyes narrowed. "Do not underestimate her. But good work, human. You think fast." Alex nodded, suppressing a sigh of relief. Praise from the first princess was rare, but it came with unspoken consequences. They expected him to continue performing perfectly under pressure. Suddenly, a small tremor ran through the station. The second princess clapped her hands, causing lights to flicker. "Interesting reactions," she said. "Your crew moves quickly, but can they handle more?" Alex realized this was no longer a test of skill alone. It was a test of leadership. He had to keep humans calm, prevent accidents, and somehow manage the unpredictability of the princesses. He gathered a small team of engineers and security officers. "Follow my instructions exactly," he said firmly. "We stabilize systems, prevent accidents, and keep these princesses occupied until we understand their goals." The team nodded, trusting his experience. Together, they moved through the station, rerouting energy, calming panicked crew members, and preventing further chaos. Meanwhile, the curious princess continued to observe Alex, silently learning. She asked questions in hushed tones. "Why do humans persist under stress? Why do you risk yourself for others?" Alex replied carefully, "Humans adapt. We work together. We do what we must to survive and to protect those who cannot." She paused, considering his words. "Your species may be more resilient than we expected. Perhaps worthy of respect." The other two princesses, unaware of this quiet alliance forming, continued their own power struggle. The first princess demanded the station's systems follow her precise commands. The second princess delighted in subverting minor controls and causing disruptions. Their personalities clashed openly now, creating tension that was almost dangerous. Alex saw an opportunity. If he could subtly manipulate their conflicts, he could buy humans time to secure the station and gain leverage. He began planning, observing their habits, predicting their next moves. Every clash, every argument, every minor sabotage became part of his strategy. Hours passed, and the station remained tense but stable. The crew worked tirelessly, guided by Alex's commands, while the princesses continued their subtle battle of wills. Yet amidst the chaos, there was a strange bond forming between Alex and the curious princess. Their silent understanding grew, a bridge between humans and aliens, even in the midst of fear and uncertainty. As night, or the station's version of night, fell, Alex took a moment to rest. He looked out at the stars, thinking about what had happened. 3 princesses had arrived without warning, demanding obedience, causing chaos, and testing humans in ways no one had imagined. Yet he also realized that humans had survived, adapted, and even impressed one of the most powerful alien beings aboard. The curious princess approached him quietly. "You have potential," she said softly. "Your species may yet prove itself. I will watch and learn." Alex nodded, understanding the weight of her words. She was not just observing, she was assessing, forming opinions that could influence her sisters, her empire, and the balance of power in the sector. "Then we both have a task," he replied. "Keep the station safe, keep the crew alive, and perhaps teach a lesson about humans in the process." She gave a small smile, almost imperceptible. "Perhaps." The station was quiet now, but Alex knew it would not last. The first princess would push for control, the second would test limits, and the curious princess would continue to observe. Chaos had not ended. It had only paused. Tomorrow, the true test would begin, and Alex, human engineer, had positioned himself at the center of it all, ready to prove that humanity was clever, adaptable, and capable of facing even the most powerful alien forces. In that moment, as stars glittered outside the reinforced walls of the station, a spark of hope flickered. Humans had survived the first day. They had adapted. And in the quiet, Alex felt a quiet thrill. This was only the beginning. The real challenge, the test of courage, skill, and strategy, was yet to come. Chaos had settled into an uneasy rhythm on the space station. The first 2 princesses had begun to clash more openly, their conflicting personalities turning minor annoyances into full-blown disruptions. The station's crew moved like a careful dance, responding quickly to problems but never daring to act without Alex's guidance. Alex walked through the central corridor, his eyes sharp. Every sensor reading, every flicker of power, and every whisper from the crew fed into his calculations. He understood that survival meant more than repairing systems or following orders. It meant thinking several steps ahead, predicting the princess's next moves, and subtly manipulating their rivalry without exposing himself to danger. The first princess entered the central hub, her presence commanding silence. "Status report," she demanded. Alex stepped forward calmly. "Systems are stable. Minor malfunctions caused by environmental fluctuations have been corrected. Crew morale is steady." Her eyes narrowed. "Minor? Your definition of minor differs from mine." She gestured sharply at the monitors. "Show me." Alex led her to the control console, displaying real-time data. "The energy fluctuations were handled. The shields are stable and life support remains fully operational. I recommend maintaining current protocols while we monitor for further interference." The first princess studied the data carefully, her expression unreadable. Finally, she nodded ever so slightly. "Efficient." But efficiency is not enough. I expect perfection. Alex nodded. Understood. Inside, he calculated ways to stay ahead. Perfection was impossible for anyone. But if he managed the situation cleverly, humans could survive, and even turn the chaos to their advantage. Meanwhile, the second princess wandered toward the observation deck, where the stars stretched infinitely. She tapped a panel, causing subtle changes in gravity across the deck. Crew members stumbled, gasped, and laughed nervously as the effect passed. Her playful amusement created distractions that could easily become dangerous. Alex quickly moved to counteract the fluctuations. Using the station's auxiliary systems, he stabilized gravity and minimized the disruptions. The crew watched silently, amazed at how calmly he handled the situation. Alex realized this moment was not just about maintaining order. It was about demonstrating human capability under stress. The curious princess appeared beside him, as silent as a shadow. Your species adapts quickly. You solve problems creatively rather than react impulsively. It is impressive. Alex gave a faint smile. We have to, otherwise we wouldn't survive long in space. She nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the starlight outside. Perhaps this station, and its people, will survive because of you. Alex returned to his engineering duties, rerouting power, checking sensors, and preparing for the next wave of disruptions. He realized that the station itself could become a tool if used strategically. By controlling key systems, he could guide the princess's interactions, turning their conflicts into opportunities. Hours later, the first and second princesses confronted each other in the docking bay. The first demanded priority over energy distribution, while the second insisted on testing experimental shields. Their arguments were sharp, public, and chaotic. The crew watched in fear, unsure how to intervene without provoking anger. Alex stepped forward calmly. If I may, he said, we can run a simulation that tests both systems simultaneously. That way, you both achieve your goals without risk to the station or crew. The princesses paused, assessing him. The first narrowed her eyes. A human suggests a solution? Yes, Alex replied firmly. You both want results. I can ensure both objectives are met safely. Humans specialize in solving problems under complex conditions. The second princess tilted her head, curiosity piqued. Interesting. Proceed. Alex coordinated with the engineering team, quickly setting up the simulation. As the test ran, shields held, energy redistributed, and life support remained stable. The princesses watched, their expressions shifting. First surprise, then grudging respect. The first princess spoke, her tone sharp but restrained. This is adequate. The second princess gave a small smile. Not bad. The human adapts well. Alex felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. By using his understanding of both the station's systems and the princess's personalities, he had turned potential disaster into a display of human skill. Yet he knew this was only temporary. The real challenge, the test of strategy and courage, was still ahead. Later, the station's alarms triggered a more serious warning. A vessel of unknown origin approached rapidly, scanning the station with energy pulses. The second princess's earlier tampering had created residual fluctuations detectable across the sector. Panic spread among the crew. Alex acted immediately. All stations to defensive protocol. Shields full power. Auxiliary systems reroute to critical areas. Everyone follow instructions exactly. The first princess watched with a critical eye. Do humans always respond with such calm under pressure? Alex focused on stabilizing energy flows, rerouting power to defensive systems, and preparing automated responses. The approaching ship could test the station's defenses and the human's resilience. The curious princess appeared silently at his side. You coordinate, strategize, and adapt. Most species would panic. Why does your species endure so well? Alex wiped sweat from his brow. We survive by working together, and we think ahead. We cannot afford mistakes when our lives depend on it. The vessel drew closer, and its sensors scanned the station repeatedly. Alex used the station's systems to send misleading signals, creating false readings and confusing the ship's navigation. The humans worked with precision, following his orders. The first and second princesses observed with growing interest. The first began issuing controlled orders through the system, testing Alex's leadership. The second deliberately introduced minor anomalies, watching how humans would respond. Each action revealed another layer of human resilience, creativity, and adaptability. Alex noticed a pattern. The princesses' conflicts could be leveraged to demonstrate human superiority without open confrontation. If he guided their actions subtly, he could turn chaos into a proving ground, showing that humans could solve problems that even powerful aliens struggled with. Minutes stretched into tense hours. The approaching vessel had not attacked, but its presence created pressure. Alex used every skill, every insight into alien behavior to stabilize systems, anticipate reactions, and coordinate the crew's efforts. Finally, the unknown vessel altered its trajectory, apparently satisfied, or at least confused enough to leave. The station had survived without damage, thanks largely to human ingenuity and strategic thinking. The first princess studied Alex carefully. Your species is clever, perhaps too clever to underestimate. The second princess laughed lightly, almost in admiration. I did not think a human could manipulate chaos so well. Interesting. The curious princess, standing quietly at Alex's side, said softly, You may have saved this station today, but the real test is yet to come. Alex understood her meaning. Today had been a test of skill, coordination, and calm under pressure. Tomorrow would bring a test of strategy, trust, and courage against forces even humans had never faced before. The crew slowly resumed normal duties, though everyone felt the lingering tension. The first and second princesses argued quietly in separate sections of the station, their rivalries simmering. The curious princess remained near Alex, observing silently, learning, and perhaps forming the beginnings of trust. Alex paused at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. He thought of humanity, small, fragile, yet capable of adapting, thinking, and surviving. The arrival of the princesses had been a shock, but humans had endured, and in subtle ways, they had demonstrated skill, courage, and ingenuity beyond what any alien might have expected. The curious princess joined him silently. Your species continues to surprise me, she said quietly. Perhaps humans deserve more respect than we have given them in the past. Alex smiled faintly. We adapt, we survive, and when we work together, we achieve more than anyone expects. She nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the countless stars beyond the station. Perhaps this alliance, or understanding, will be important. Soon. Alex knew she was right. Chaos had been managed, but it had also revealed opportunities. By observing, understanding, and strategically guiding the princess's conflicts, humans had gained an advantage, a subtle but significant foothold. As the station's system stabilized and crew members regained confidence, Alex felt a sense of cautious optimism. Humans had faced powerful aliens, unpredictable royalty, and potential disaster, and had endured. They had demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and resilience in the face of chaos. But he also knew the challenges were far from over. The princess's rivalries were still active. The curious princess was watching closely, and the unknown forces in the sector could return at any moment. The true test of human skill, strategy, and courage was still ahead. Alex took a deep breath, readying himself for what would come next. Humanity had proven it could survive, and even thrive, against chaos, unpredictability, and power far beyond its own. And as he looked at the stars stretching endlessly beyond the station, he knew that the next challenge would demand everything humans had learned so far. And more. Absolutely. Here's part 4, the thrilling conclusion of your HFY Sci-Fi story, written in third-person style, simple English, around 1,400 words, engaging and completely free of any violated content. The space station trembled slightly as the 3 alien princesses moved through its halls, their rivalries and commands creating a tension that vibrated through the structure. Alex walked the corridors, calm but alert, knowing the final test was about to begin. The curious princess had stayed near him, silent and watchful, while the other 2 grew more openly competitive, their presence threatening to spark chaos at any moment. "Systems check," Alex instructed quietly, gathering his engineering team. "We stabilize energy flows, shields, and communication channels. Everything must function flawlessly." The first princess approached, her eyes sharp. "Do not waste time. Prepare the station for what is to come." Alex nodded. Understood. He and his team moved quickly, rerouting power, stabilizing shields, and ensuring every crew member knew their role. Today was not just about maintaining order. It was about proving that humans could solve problems no one else could. The second princess wandered past them, her silver hair catching the lights. "Interesting," she said. "The human coordinates chaos and turns it into something useful. I did not expect that." Alex didn't respond. He continued his work, knowing that actions would speak louder than words. Outside, the sensors detected a fleet approaching, ships moving faster than standard patrols, scanning the station aggressively. This was no coincidence. The princess's previous tampering had likely alerted others to the station's value. Panic began to rise among the crew, but Alex remained calm. Humans had survived this long by thinking ahead, by adapting, and by working together. "Defensive systems online," Alex called. "Shields at maximum, weapons ready, energy flows stable. Stay focused." The first and second princesses observed quietly, their rivalry now subdued slightly by the reality of a potential external threat. Alex could sense the tension between them, yet it was becoming a tool rather than an obstacle. The curious princess stepped closer. "You may be the key to preventing disaster," she said softly. "Your species may surprise even my sisters." Alex gave her a small nod. "We've managed so far. With focus and teamwork, we can handle this too." As the fleet drew nearer, Alex realized that direct confrontation would be risky. Instead, he devised a plan to use the station's systems strategically. By creating controlled feedback loops in the energy conduits and rerouting sensor signals, he could mislead the fleet into believing the station was more heavily defended than it actually was. "Crew," Alex instructed, "follow my lead. Divert power to the outer shields, engage automated decoy systems, and prepare emergency evacuation routes. We are going to survive this without firing a single shot, if we execute perfectly." The humans moved swiftly, executing each order with precision. Energy flowed through the conduits. Shields glowed brightly, and sensor systems sent out confusing signals. The fleet slowed, analyzing the station's defenses, unsure of the actual strength they faced. The first princess stepped beside Alex, her expression softening slightly. "You manipulate the station like a weapon," she said. "Clever. Perhaps humans are not as weak as we assumed." The second princess, watching from the observation deck, gave a small, impressed smile. "I admit, this is unexpected. The human has turned chaos into advantage. Fascinating." The curious princess remained silent but observant, her dark eyes reflecting pride and intrigue. She had seen the humans adapt, survive, and now face a threat with calm intelligence. Alex continued coordinating systems, guiding energy flows, and observing the princess's reactions. He realized that their rivalry could be used to stabilize the situation further. By allowing each princess to take temporary control of certain systems, they became invested in the station's safety. Their competition transformed into cooperation, but guided by Alex's strategy. "Redirect the energy output to my shields," the first princess demanded, her tone commanding but urgent. Alex nodded, adjusting the systems. "Done. Stabilizing across the station to prevent overload." The second princess frowned, then smirked. "My shields need recalibration as well. Let's see if your humans can manage both without failure." Alex focused, rerouting power, adjusting feedback loops, and ensuring that both sets of shields could operate simultaneously. Every human crew member followed instructions perfectly, moving as a single unit guided by logic, experience, and trust in their leader. Minutes passed like hours. Outside, the fleet scanned, hesitated, and then slowly withdrew. The station had projected power beyond its actual capability, a testament to human ingenuity and careful strategy. Chaos had been transformed into a demonstration of skill and adaptability. The first princess crossed her arms, nodding slightly. "Humans are resourceful, perhaps more than we anticipated." The second princess laughed softly, a rare sound of admiration. "I underestimated you. Human. Very clever." The curious princess approached Alex silently. "Your species has proven itself," she said. "You lead with intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Perhaps there is hope for humans after all." Alex allowed himself a small smile. "We survive by working together, learning and adapting. That's how humans endure." The crew around him cheered quietly, relief and pride mingling in their voices. The station had survived not through brute force, but through intelligence, strategy, and cooperation. The three princesses gathered in the central hub. The first spoke first. "This human demonstrates skills we did not expect. He has earned my respect, begrudging though it may be." The second princess nodded. "And mine. He has turned my disruptions into a solution rather than a disaster." "That is impressive." The curious princess finally spoke aloud. "He has done more than survive. He has guided humans and aliens alike to cooperate under pressure. That is a rare quality in any species." Alex felt a mix of relief and pride. The challenge had been immense, but humans had prevailed. The princess's respect was a powerful acknowledgement, not just of his skill, but of humanity's potential. "Your station is safe," Alex said to them calmly. "The crew is safe, and your systems are operational." The first princess stepped closer. "You have proven that humans are capable of handling responsibility, even when confronted by forces far stronger than themselves. That is commendable." The second princess smirked. "Perhaps humans deserve more attention than we previously thought. Clever, resourceful, adaptable, interesting." The curious princess placed a hand lightly on the console. "Your species has survived the test. Perhaps one day humans and my people could truly understand one another." Alex nodded. "We can. If we work together, we can achieve more than anyone expects." The first princess turned to her sisters. "Perhaps our assessment of humans has been incomplete." The second princess laughed lightly. "Understatement. The human has surprised us all." The curious princess smiled faintly. "We have learned as well. Cooperation is possible, even in the most unexpected circumstances." The station crew, watching this, realized that humans had done something extraordinary. They had survived against not only the chaos created by the princess's rivalries, but also the looming threat of the fleet outside. Human ingenuity, courage, and calm under pressure had turned a potential disaster into a triumph. Alex allowed himself a moment of reflection. The station had been tested to its limits, The princess's tempers and powers had challenged every system, and the humans had endured. It was a victory not of weapons or force, but of intellect, strategy, and teamwork. The three princesses departed shortly afterward, each leaving with a newfound respect for humanity. The first with cautious admiration, the second with reluctant acknowledgement, and the curious princess with a hint of alliance and trust. Alex watched them leave, knowing that humanity's reputation had been strengthened across multiple empires. The station was safe, the crew was proud, and humans had proven themselves capable of extraordinary feats. The stars outside shimmered quietly, reflecting the calm after the storm. Alex stood on the observation deck, thinking of the challenges they had faced and the lessons learned. Humans were resilient, clever, and adaptable, qualities that no alien, no matter how powerful, could ignore. "Not bad for a day's work," Alex muttered quietly. The curious princess appeared silently beside him once more. "Your species is remarkable. You have survived where others might have failed. That is rare." Alex nodded. "We do what we must to survive, and sometimes we exceed expectations." She smiled faintly. "Indeed. Perhaps one day your people will show the galaxy just how capable they truly are." Alex looked at the stars and felt hope. Chaos had come, tested them, and humans had not only endured, they had prevailed. The station, the crew, and even the three alien princesses had witnessed what humanity could do. And somewhere in the vastness of space, Alex knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven itself, not by domination or power, but by intelligence, courage, and the ability to adapt in even the most chaotic of circumstances. For Alex, the day had ended with quiet pride. Humans were clever, humans were brave, and humans could thrive, even when challenged by the most powerful beings in the galaxy. And as the space station hummed with renewed energy, calm and ordered once more, the stars beyond seemed to whisper possibilities. Challenges would come again, but humanity was ready.